Welcome back to the Metal Nerd, everybody, the show where I sit in a chair and I talk to you guys about metal. And if you don't like metal or chairs, then this probably isn't the channel for you. I got weirdly standoffish there for some reason, but don't go. We have some exciting metal albums to talk about here. My most anticipated metal, and I'm going to include hard rock here, albums of 2022. I'm not going to talk about my most anticipated hip-hop albums of the year because this channel is called The Metal Nerd, but I'm looking forward to the new Earl sweatshirt. But let's keep it on the topic of metal. And, you know, in 2021, I think that I got pretty spoiled in terms of metal releases. We had 2 full-length albums from 2 of my favorite metal bands of all time. That is Gojira and Mastodon, both putting out albums in 2021. So yeah, I got pretty spoiled. There are some good releases, anticipated releases here for 2022 though. Okay, we might as well dive right in. The album that I'm probably anticipating the most this year is a new release from Porcupine Tree. This album will apparently be called Closure/Continuation, and it's slated for release in June 22nd, I think, 2022, but the way that things are going, it's really hard to rely on album release dates, but we're gonna get it in 2022. Porcupine Tree is, of course, an English prog rock, prog metal band, one of my favorite of those types of bands for sure. I think that they have a great mix of more meditative songs with a lot heavier songs. I love the production that Porcupine Tree brings to the table. I love that they're not just making music, they're also making soundscapes. It's just something on a little bit of a deeper level. The mastermind behind the band is Steven Wilson. He writes a lot of the music. He is also the producer, the frontman, all of that. He also produced Opeth's Blackwater Park, one of my favorite albums of all time. Some of my favorite Porcupine Tree albums, though, I definitely have to say Lightbulb Sun as one that I got into, and definitely In Absentia, particularly the song The Creator Has a Master Tape. Another thing I really love about this band is that they can get really weird conceptually. They have songs about serial killers, and even a song that's very explicitly about the Heaven's Gate cult. But yeah, I love this band. The track Harridan, which they teased from the new album, really loving that track. I've listened to it at least 2 times today, so pretty pumped for this album. Definitely a contender for album of the year for me. Okay, next up we have an album from a band that you guys in the comments actually exposed me to, so I have to thank you for that, and that is Amorphis, a Finnish melodic death metal band, I suppose you could say. Amorphis has an album titled Halo. It'll be out apparently on February 11th, 2022. I enjoy the variety of instruments that this band uses. I enjoy the variety of vocal styles. Overall, I find that they bring a lot of passion to their music and that their music is very memorable, especially the choruses. With Amorphis, they tend to have like an otherworldly feel to their music. They definitely do the fantasy thing, but not in a way where it's like super cheesy, like Blind Guardian or something like that. Sorry to you Blind Guardian fans out there. So yeah, Amorphis, they're a band that I'm digging. I liked their last album, Queen of Time. I've heard the new track, The Moon, liking that as well, and I'm pretty excited to see what these guys bring to the table in 2022. Okay, so this next one, I'll give it to you guys. This is probably the least metal album on this list, but I have to give a shout out here to Billy Talent. They've got an album coming out in January, Crisis of Faith. Billy Talent is a Canadian rock band, and you guys have to understand that. When I was first getting into music, like early on in high school, really getting into music, this scene was huge. Pop punk bands were all of the rage. This was the era of Trouble Charger, Sum 41, Avril Lavigne, and of course Billy Talent. And this music was definitely fundamental to my musical development, my development as a music fan, and I have to say that I still listen to Billy Talent, particularly their first few albums. I'll throw them on in the car or whatever, definitely on a road trip. Music that I can listen to with my girlfriend, you know, good girlfriend music, which heavier forms of metal aren't always. But yeah, with Billy Talent, I think that they have great production, great riffs. Despite the very high level of production, they managed to maintain that punk rock edge a little bit. They're not like the most punk band ever, obviously. I did check out their new track, End of Me. I'm enjoying the track. Chorus is super catchy. Features Rivers Cuomo, who these days I can definitely take or leave, but it's a good track. So I'm definitely curious about this new Billy Talent album, and I'll definitely be checking it out when it drops later this month, I guess. Next up is a band that I discovered here on YouTube. So I have to give a shout out to fellow metal YouTuber Metal Meltdown for introducing me to this band, and that is Lorna Shore. They have an album coming out this year, apparently full length. No title for it yet as far as I know. Now, this is an American deathcore band, a genre that I'm famously not that into, but I do enjoy this band. And I have to admit that I have become a little bit more accepting of like deathcore and metalcore recently. Their most recent EP, And I Return to Nothingness, I believe it's the first release, featuring their new singer, Will Ramos. It's wild. I don't know how to describe it really. All I can really say is that Will Ramos is a revelation on vocals. I love how layered the vocals are in this band. There's wicked fast riffs, blast beats, solos up the ass, crazy breakdowns. I mean, this band is very intense. So if you're gonna deathcore, which I really don't recommend that you do, you might as well do it like this. Okay, next up, another band that you might not find that metal, but they're pretty metal sometimes. They definitely dress metal. That is Ghost. And Ghost have apparently full-length album that's done, and it'll be coming out in 2022, hopefully. Ghost is, of course, a Swedish rock band, a band that I've been into for a very long time. I actually am proudly a big hipster on this band. I saw them on their first tour, even though none of my friends wanted to go see them. And you know what? If none of your friends want to go to a concert and you still want to go see them, you go to that concert because you'll make new friends. But yeah, this band, they have like this gimmick of being Satanists. They have a lot of occult themes in their music, a lot of satanic and occult visuals going on. There has been some controversy, I feel like I have to mention it, between the founder of the band and some former members around writing credit on songs, I guess. But still, I really enjoy this band. I think that they have, again, very good production, very catchy songs, and I'm definitely curious, excited to see what Ghost is going to come out with this year. Okay, it's time for some honorable mentions. Fit for an Autopsy, another deathcore type band that I've been liking lately. Not as interesting as Lorna Shore, so didn't make the main list. Korn has an album coming out this year. I'm more curious than excited about that album, but I'll definitely be checking it out. Author and Punisher, a band with an interesting gimmick. I think the guy makes music on his computer and he's got like this weird like hydraulic thing that he plays around with. I don't know, it's an interesting enough band. It's never been my favorite thing, but I'll definitely be curious to check out their new release. Zeal and Ardor, similarly, not a band that I necessarily love, but I am curious to see what they drop. Okay, and before I get out of here, I guess I want to give you guys some dishonorable mentions, some of my least anticipated albums of the year. I feel bad about this one, but I just gotta get this in here. I just gotta make fun of James the Brie for a second. There's a lot of James the Brie haters out there. I don't want to hate on the guy too much. I've never really loved his vocal style. I guess it does work for Dream Theater, but I think that I just want Dream Theater to be leaning more into those metal aspects, and I feel like he's never fitting into that groove, and I don't know. I just don't love everything that James the Brie is about, and not super excited. He called his album Beautiful Shades of Grey or something like that. Like, I don't know. There's a few bands here releasing albums, a kind of old school rock and roll sound that I think is pretty played out at this point. We've got an album coming out from the Scorpions. We've got Slash teaming up with Alter Bridge Guy. Just albums that I'm not really interested in hearing. There's, of course, Hammerfall is putting out an album. I just find that band super cheesy as hell. And probably my least anticipated album of the year. I know what it's gonna be. I feel like I can hear the entire album in my head and I already don't like it. And that is Megadeth's new album. And if I get any hate on this video, if I get any comments on this video at all, it'll probably be hate for that thing that I just said about Megadeth. But I think that, you know, talk about a sound that's played out. Megadeth, you know, they were kind of pushing the envelope back in the 90s and the 80s. But these days, you know, it's been a long time since Megadeth put out something exciting, let me just say that. All right, there are my most anticipated metal and hard rock albums for 2022. Let me know what you guys think of these picks. If there are some exciting albums that I missed, you can drop those down in the comments. What else can you do? You can subscribe to the channel, you can donate to my Patreon. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I look forward to bringing you tons of videos this year. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next time.